Ever feel like someone's like peering over your shoulder every time you hit send on an email?
Or scrolling through your texts.
Yeah. Today's deep dive is for anyone who values their privacy online. We're talking onion routing and mixnets.
These are tools, or I guess you could even call them techniques, that can make your online activity, well, really tough to track.
Right. Imagine trying to send a message when it feels like Big Brother's always watching. Not exactly an ideal scenario, right?
Right, and more importantly, how do these technologies actually keep your data safe?
Let's start with onion routing. I'm guessing most of our listeners have at least heard of Tor, yeah?
Definitely. It's kind of the poster child for onion routing, and for good reason.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't taken a deep dive into the world of Tor, how would you explain onion routing?
Okay, imagine this. You want to send a postcard, but instead of sending it directly to your friend, you route it through, say, 5 other people first.
Okay, I'm following. So each person only knows who they got it from and who they're sending it to, not the original sender or the final destination.
Exactly. So each intermediary is kind of like a layer of an onion, right? They only peel back that one layer to reveal the next step. They don't see the whole route.
So even if someone manages to intercept that postcard along the way, they're only getting a tiny glimpse of the journey, not the whole trip.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle, but you're missing most of the pieces. Good luck figuring out the big picture.
Makes sense. That's onion routing in a nutshell. But what about mixnets? I feel like those don't get as much airtime.
They're definitely in the same family as onion routing, but with a key difference. If onion routing is like sending a message through a secret relay, mixnets kind of scramble the messages at each step.
Okay, so if onion routing is like passing a sealed envelope, mixnets are more like shuffling a deck of cards at every stop along the way.
You got it. That randomness is key. Mixnets are all about making it pretty much impossible to link a message back to its original sender.
Okay, so before we get too deep into the weeds of mixnets, let's take a step back. Why should our listeners care about any of this?
That's the big question, right?
In a world of data breaches and, well, just constant surveillance, taking control of your online privacy is, I think, more important than ever. Wouldn't you agree?
Totally. Understanding these technologies is like arming yourself with knowledge. It's about being in control of your data and who gets to see it.
Okay, so let's say you're on board with the whole privacy thing. Why choose onion routing over mixnets? Or vice versa. It's like, okay, you're going undercover, which disguise is going to keep you hidden better?
Right. It's all about how much you want to blend in or disappear. Both onion routing and mixnets have their strengths and weaknesses, that's for sure.
So downsides. Let's talk onion routing first. Where does it, fall short?
One word. Traffic analysis.
Traffic analysis. Doesn't sound great.
It can be a bit of an Achilles heel, yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Imagine someone is watching all the traffic going in and out of the Onion network. They can't actually read your messages, but they might start to see patterns, like who's talking to who, how often, that sort of thing.
So even if they don't know what you're saying, they can see who's talking and when.
Exactly. It's like if you always meet your friend at the same coffee shop every Tuesday at noon.
Yeah.
Someone might notice, right? Even if they don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that makes sense. So not totally foolproof. What about mixnets then? Same vulnerabilities.
They're usually better at dealing with traffic analysis, especially the ones that use these cool techniques like bitwise unlinkability and latency addition.
Whoa, okay, you lost me. Bitwise what now?
Yeah, it's a mouthful, right. Imagine you have a letter, but instead of just putting it in an envelope, you chop it up into tiny pieces, like confetti level small, and then you mix those pieces with a ton of other random bits of paper. That's kind of what bitwise unlinkability does, but with your data.
So it's like shredding, but digital.
Exactly. Makes it way harder to put the pieces back together. And even if they intercept everything, it's just noise without the right key.
Okay, I think I'm getting that. But what was the other thing? Latency addition.
Oh, right. That's all about messing with timing. Like imagine you're sending a postcard, but instead of going straight to its destination, it takes a bunch of detours. That makes it way harder to track, right?
So if someone's trying to figure out when a message was sent, it's like throwing them off the scent.
Exactly. It has this layer of randomness, so it's harder to connect the dots based on timing alone.
Clever. But it seems like mixnets, while they sound more secure, maybe they're also trickier to actually use.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. There are definitely user-friendly mixnet tools out there, but they're not as common or as easy to find as something like Tor. That's true.
So it's kind of like, how much effort are you willing to put in for more privacy?
Pretty much. Though I'd say for people who really need that extra level of anonymity we're talking, like sensitive information, high-stakes situations, Mixnets are the way to go.
Makes you think of, like, whistleblowers, journalists, folks working under really tough circumstances. Are mixnets actually used for stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Secure voting systems, too. Anything where anonymity is mission critical.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just, like, theoretical stuff. This is real-world impact.
Right. This is about protecting people. It's a fundamental right. And in the digital age, we need these tools more than ever.
So where does it all go from here? Can these technologies, can they keep up with, how fast surveillance tech is evolving?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
You tell me. Any predictions?
Honestly, it's hard to say. But one thing I know for sure, as long as there are people trying to protect privacy, there will be people developing new ways to do it. It's like an arms race.
An arms race for privacy.
Exactly. And race worth winning, in my opinion. The stakes are just too high to ignore.
I'm right there with you on that. Knowing how to navigate all of this is it's essential these days. And this deep dive, I think, is a good starting point, wouldn't you say?
For sure. The more we understand these technologies, the better equipped we are to protect that right to privacy. For everyone.
Well said. Okay, folks, that's a wrap for this deep dive. But the conversation doesn't end here.
Absolutely. Just scratching the surface. We'll be sure to drop some links in the show notes for anyone who wants to do their own digging.
Until next time, everyone, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly,
Stay private.